You're listening to Ska Talk with Ska. My name is Jess. I'm here with my co-host Janice.
Hello.
And tonight we have very special guests from the band The Abruptors, Mike and Toni. Welcome.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Do you guys want to just take a second to give everybody like a little game show introduction of yourself?
Yeah, for sure. I'm Toni. I play keyboard, saxophone, and sing in the Abruptors.
And I'm Mike, and I play guitar and sing.
And is this your full-time gig? Do you have jobs in addition to this, or
No, we
Yeah,
have jobs. Unfortunately, Scott doesn't pay the bills.
of
Although
course.
we wish it did.
Yeah, Mike Park won't give us any money, so
Darn. How do you balance real life with your music?
I think I've been pretty fortunate, at least like the last 10 years we've been a band, to be in like jobs where I've either had enough time off or like flexible time off where if something comes up, um, I just can do it. Um, so very lucky in that way. And we practice every Sunday, so Saturday or Sunday. So we kind of have that expectation that like one of those days is set aside for practice for us. Um, but I think if you build it into your schedule, like I am of the mind of like if you truly like love something, you'll find the time and you'll make the time for it. Um, and so, yeah, I think I've just been very fortunate where my job and all of that has been really accommodating.
yeah, I agree. I think it's right now we just have the best people in the band who want to do this, who have the availability. But like she said, if you really want to do something, you'll do it. I used to work with people all the time who would ask me what I was doing for the weekend, and I'd say, "Oh, I'm going off to Quebec. I'm going to play a show and come back." And they're like, "Wish I could do that." I'm like, "We have the same work schedule. You can. You
Right?
just make excuses and then choose not to." So yeah, I mean it's a mindset, right? Unless you're literally working 7 days a week, then I'm sorry. That sucks. But
But I do think too, like a lot of times our band trips do become our vacations and stuff like that.
yeah, we're definitely like kind of interesting in that way where we really don't mind using our vacation time to take trips. So just kind of works out for us. We've had people in the past who definitely didn't like that. They're like, I want to take a vacation with my significant other. I don't want to be with you. So, but for us, it doesn't seem to, it doesn't phase us.
Awesome.
That's cool. I mean, it's great that you enjoy it that much that you can see it as a vacation, not just work. That's really cool.
Yeah, I mean, there's the other side that comes into it. I mean, it is a lot of work. I think that's like kind of what a lot of people end up forgetting too. Like you tell them when they join your band and they're like, "Oh, I can handle it, of course." And then they actually see what goes into it and they're like, "Well, shit, that's not as fun as I thought it was." And I'm like,
Yeah, the rest of our band is very lucky where their job is kind of just to
yeah.
like show up in front.
And speaking of in the past, they're
Because
definitely
right now, you and I pretty much handle most of the work.
yeah.
I'm sure it's
Yeah.
pretty rewarding though, like the places you get to see and the people you get to meet. That must
Oh
be
yeah.
something that you want to get with the normal 9 to 5 job, obviously. Where has been your favorite place to visit?
I mean, I really enjoy going basically anywhere in Canada. I feel like um Quebec and Montreal and Toronto and just every city we've hit in Canada has been like incredibly welcoming. Everybody's just like super friendly. Um, and it's, I don't know, just really nice to meet people in
Yeah.
Canada.
Yeah, I would agree. Quebec is probably my all-time favorite. Just it's beautiful and I love before I went there for the first time, everybody warned me how cruel, the French Canadians are, how mean. And it never once has been like that. We've been there
They're very
hundreds of
direct.
times. Yeah, but they're
Yeah.
so nice.
But Denise and I are very direct people too. They are very nice.
Yeah, I should move to Quebec. That's fine.
They're very kind but direct. Direct doesn't always mean rude.
No, they're
I think for
wonderful.
like,
Yeah.
the population of humans, direct can mean rude.
But yeah, I've always loved it there. It's great.
People tend to say that about where I'm from as well, Philly, that we're all like really rude and
Oh,
mean. But if you go to a ska show in Philly, you're not going to get that reaction, I'm sure.
we were just in Philly, but just for Tony and I went, but we didn't. Everything was fine.
Yeah, I don't know.
Mhm.
Maybe
Well, you'll be back real soon. You'll see how nice people are.
Yay.
Oh, just outside of Philly, anyway.
Right.
Oh,
Yeah.
I don't even remember where we're going.
He looked at me, he
This
goes,
is
"Where are
my
we going?"
Croydon Fest is just outside of Philly.
Oh,
Same
okay.
like everyone
Got
else.
you.
So
I could be biased, but I feel like just ska people in general are also nicer and kinder than your average person, in
Mhm.
my experience.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think I've ever had anybody come at me at a ska show, but the amount of punk shows where somebody try to fight you and you're just sitting there.
Yep.
it's
Yeah.
true.
Yeah, I don't miss that. So
No. No, I started going to a lot of punk shows and I like gently slid over to ska and I was like, I like it here. I'm staying.
yeah, no, I agree. I definitely remember some of my younger days where you just sit there and some guy come up to you and start picking a fight, and you're just like, it's just sitting here.
Why? Just why?
Yeah.
Yeah. At what point in your lives did you each get into music?
I mean, I've been playing music since I was like 4 years old. So I was playing piano. And then as I grew up, you pick up the saxophone for band. Um, and so music has always been something that I've just done. I didn't start getting into like playing in a band until college. And so I went to a school of music and was fortunate to be surrounded by people who were just like really good musicians. We started a ska band and we, played in that ska band for 3 years. And that was kind of like my first introduction to playing in like a more a band that plays at bars is a lot different from like a concert band or a like a jazz band, right? So but yeah, kind of got the bug and just never went back.
Yeah, for me it was the same. I was a kid. I would pretend to play a busted acoustic guitar I found in an attic. Um, then as I grew up, I tried many different instruments, landing on the bass. Um, I didn't even start playing guitar until I was in my 20s. But I was playing in bands all through my late teens, and just kind of fell into guitar because somebody didn't know how to play the ska chords when I tried to start a ska band. So I thought maybe I could do it. That's literally all I can do, but I just kind of stuck with it. I played like we said, playing in punk shows and stuff. I played in 100 punk bands growing up. Um, I think at this point this is my third or fourth ska band already. So
Wow. Okay. What were some of the ska bands that were inspirations to you in getting into the music?
for me it was definitely originally the Mighty Mighty Boss Tones was like the first ska-ish type thing I heard. And then I just used them through interviews to kind of like when they would be in Rolling Stone, they would list the bands that influenced them, and I would go and I would find these bands. So it was usually like the Selector, the Specials, just things like that. That's kind of how I found it. Um, and then obviously I was born in that third wave era, so anything I heard, I just kind of listened to, picked up, and it was easy for me back then.
Yeah, my first introduction to ska music was actually in high school, and I had friends who played in a ska band. So we go to like their shows every once in a while. For me, it was always about like the the people that I was doing it with and having fun. My first ska show was Big D and the Kids Table at actually in the little like cafeteria that they had for the college I was at when they were doing their college tour. It was just so much fun. Like I'd never been really in an environment like that before where everybody was just kind of like dancing and having a good time and then actually they ended up shutting the show down because of a noise complaint and like I which is ironic because it's Big
I
D.
was what a
But
coincidence.
it's there, so there you go. But yeah, I think like that was maybe kind of my gateway into ska, and then from there it's just been all about like the people and the music that you get to make and um just having fun.
Awesome. How long have the Abruptors been in existence?
10 years last, no, 2 months ago now.
10 years.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it's
Awesome.
crazy to think about. I didn't even think we'd last a year.
That's big.
Right?
Yeah, for not just for us, but for Buffalo, I would say most bands are done in like 6 months to 2 years.
Really?
There's one band going strong in Buffalo that's made it, I think, 12 years, which is fantastic for them, but it's definitely not the norm.
What band is that?
I'm the Cinder. It's like
Oh,
a Buffalo
okay.
punk band.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
know.
they tour a lot. They're all over. They're great. Um, but it's just really cool that we've lasted this long. I mean,
There's actually definitely a few bands who've been around longer than 2 years at this point, though.
well, yeah, but I'm
Right.
saying like the
Yeah.
general, like we've been through when we started, the bands that we played with aren't around. 2 years into that, those bands aren't around. 4 years into it, most of those bands aren't around. I mean, there is such a cycle. Sure, somebody will last 5 years, or there's a band in Buffalo that reunited after X amount of years. So that's always like fun to hear, but it's not the norm. I wouldn't say that's not like usual.
Mhm.
So
I made it out to Buffalo last year for the first time. We became familiar with your scene, I guess, through Riot Squad. Because
yeah.
we go to camp every year, and last year we decided to go out to Buffalo Ska Fest, and you know,
Oh, cool.
we're familiar with Working Class Stiffs and do it with
Mhm.
Malice. You guys.
Yep.
That's awesome.
Now recently getting to know about Skamagachi, they're from Buffalo too, right?
Yes.
Mhm.
Yep. Those were the three I was going to name when I
Yeah.
was thinking of bands that have
Okay.
been around a little bit longer, like last 5 years, I think.
Skamagachi's just about 2 years, I think. And
Yeah.
then,
I
yeah,
feel like they've been around a lot longer for some reason. I don't know. My concept of time is
not
short.
great. But then they also were in other Buffalo bands too. So it's not like they haven't been here, but yeah, the band itself is relative. I mean, maybe 3 years, but it hasn't been that long.
How would you
Um,
describe the scene up there? Is it like a healthy scene?
Now it is, yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, we don't with all the other bands we play with, we're all friendly friends, you know. I talk to some of the members like just like as friends, you know. I wouldn't say that was normal beforehand. There just wasn't anybody to talk to at the time. It was just us. There was a good period where everybody would say, "Oh, well, the Abruptors are on the show again," and I'm like, "It's not because they pick us; it's because there's no other bands. There's literally nobody else." So it was funny. We play a show one night and then we get another big show the next night. And again, it was more just because they were like, we have nobody else to ask. But now it's great. Now it goes around, and Laura from Riot Squad, despite the fact that she doesn't live here, she's very involved with
Mhm.
Buffalo and spreads it around very fairly.
I see that.
So
That's
I
great
think
festival.
that's one of the best things about her is, she doesn't just try to like crowd it up with the same people. She cycles in a good way.
Mhm.
Oh, well, I got off subject. I was going to keep going on your 10-year span as a band here and
Yeah.
talk about how everything you released has been on Asian Man, correct?
Yes. Every
So
single thing.
I want to talk about what it's like being on that label, but I want to quote one of our listeners, Eric from the Bay Area in California, who loves you guys. And he said, "You're carrying on a pretty big legacy as a ska band on Asian Man Records." And we couldn't have said that better ourselves. What has it been
Yeah.
like being on that label?
It's incredible. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm almost getting a tear in my eye just hearing
I
somebody
got
say that
chills.
because it's like sometimes you do realize it and sometimes you don't. I think I've said this before, but like when I met Mike, I was the worst type of fan ever. I don't even know why he kept talking to me. I was just horrible. Um, but
The worst type of fan being like you like stalked him.
yeah, I just
Almost. Not
loved
like
him.
reminder.
No, but I was like so obsessive. Like when I get those kind of people, like these days, every once in a while, you're like, all right, take a step back. Like, but I try to see it through his eyes too, where he just like saw this like person who knew that what he created meant something to him. And then these days, sometimes I have to remind myself like that we are on such an important label. He texted me the other day and I was just like, oh, band stuff. But I don't, sometimes I forget like how amazing it is that Mike Park is texting me. Like, it's only something you would have dreamed of when you were younger. But
Right.
yeah, when we found out that we were first ska band he signed in years, when he did sign us, that was like, it's a lot. It was a lot to carry. But I was very thankful. I still don't know why he did it. I don't really care.
It says because you're good people.
Yeah, that's what he always says. You're good
Because you're
people.
good people.
I was going to ask what you had to do to get him to listen, but it was obviously your persistence, I assume.
Yes.
Uh,
Yeah, Mike didn't leave him alone.
no, we got that was his fault. He opened that door and he forgot to close it. So he definitely turned us down for I was in multiple bands over the course of like 3 years. Um, I always share a post that comes up on my Facebook, and it's a picture of him holding my old band CD. And at that point, I put Mike Park says, or B-side Bastards was the name of the band. Our Mike Park approved, and that could not have been further from the truth. I found out that he threw that CD in the garbage. So
No.
um, he's just being nice, to take that photo, but he totally told me he threw it in the garbage. But then I sent him a different band I was in, and then I sent him another band, and he was just like, "Oh, whatever, that's cool, man. Keep playing." That's what I got back. And then the Abruptors, I just sent him like a demo with zero hopes. At that point, I was kind of like, "All right, it's never gonna work out." And that's when he came back and was like, "Cool, let's do a 7-inch," which was just shocking. I
Did
was
you,
probably screaming.
how did you celebrate that night? Who's the
I
first
mean,
person
I
you
was
told?
just absolutely floored. Um, I don't know. It's one of those things where maybe I didn't dream massive as a kid, but that's what I wanted. Like I wanted to be an Asian man. I wanted to be on a label that I just loved. And the fact that it happened, I didn't think it was real for the longest time. But we got right to work. Like, and that was probably our downfall at that point was really we were too excited. So we got a studio like right away, started like recording stuff, and it was like we probably should have maybe practiced more, polished things up. Um, but something you learn from.
The first demo you sent him, he was like, "How do you think it sounds?"
Yeah, he's very honest. He's very honest. I sent it and I'm like, "What do you think?" And he's like, "What do you think?" Because I think it sounds like a basement demo. And I was like, "Yep." I'm like, "You are correct." And he was just like, "Take your time, relax." But then we ended up finding a studio, which this guy he turned out to be some weird drug lord we didn't know. It happened after
Oh,
we were finished, but he was like, he's crazy. He kind of like was very pushy. Like he had a very expensive studio. It was really impressive. But when we got there, he wanted me to use like this weird digital amp that he had. He wouldn't let me use my stuff. Um, he had a very just he was just very persistent in what he wanted, despite the fact that he never recorded ska before. And then we had like horn issues. None of the horn players that are on like listed on that EP are actually on that EP. Like they got removed because they recorded it out of tune. So
It's actually Western
Western Standard
Standard
Time
Time.
Ska Orchestra actually recorded all the horns through the 7-inch.
Wow.
Um, yeah, it was also weird. I just randomly hit up Etan and I said, "Hey, would you want to record on our 7-inch?" And he's like, "Yeah, sure." I don't know. It was weird, but thankful because that saved us. But I think, looking back, I totally would have wanted to do that at my own pace. I think I was just in shock. And I thought that if I didn't do it quickly, Mike would forget about us.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You're like, let's not let him change his mind.
Yeah, I think that was it. But, that's one way to look at it, right? If I was smarter, I would have been like, let's put out something really solid that we can still be proud of. Like, I personally don't love it. People do like it. They tell me all the time they like it. But it's not something I don't think he'll ever reissue it, which is great. So,
You're probably overly critical of your own work, of course, because
Yes.
we all are.
I mean, yeah, but I mean, you can definitely hear like how things. I mean, we didn't have half the band on that.
Right.
That says a lot. That says a lot. So,
Oh, I mean, I love all your music, but you can totally hear the growth from the beginning to now.
yeah,
Each
yeah, yeah,
each release, you can hear it. And
yeah. And I think that's kind of what you want as a musician, but you don't want to look back and just shudder. It's just that one just makes my skin crawl just because of how many weird things were going on at that time. But I do have it hanging up actually right in front of me, just because it will
as
also
you
remind
should.
me. Yeah, it just reminds me of like I did that. Like I can't believe I did it, but I did it. So
And all these years later, you're still releasing music on Asian Man. So you did
I
something
think that's another shock to
right.
us. Like we honestly, after the 7-inch, we were like, okay, that's it. Like I'm happy. I can be proud of what I did and know that I'll always have that on Asian Man. But I definitely made peace with the fact that it wasn't going to happen again. Clearly, yeah.
After every record, though, we do another record, and we're like, well, we'll see if Mike Park wants to work with us again, and you always think it's the last one. So
Yeah,
it never is.
no, but I mean it's weird because like we're not in the 90s where ska is making tons of money.
Mhm.
We're also not at the era of like Alkaline Trio on Asian Man Records that's funding a lot of the other stuff. You know what I mean? Like we're at the like Park Pace phase, where he does what he wants to do, and that's great. But he wants us for some reason. That's great. I'm very happy for that.
But I think the reason is like Mike is genuinely about the people, and that is why Mike does what he does. And
Mm-hmm.
like even when I'm texting back and forth with him and I'm like stressed about something, his response to me is always just have fun with it. Like because I think that's, making sure you have fun with it is the most important thing to him first, above and beyond everything else. And I think like he sees how much we genuinely care about what we do and how we like work hard and we're not just goofing off and like being nasty and like I think he sees that and that's why he chooses to continue to work with us.
Yeah, I think that's one of the best parts of our band is that we didn't just get shows because we are the only ska band in Buffalo. We're also very reliable, in a city full of like punk and metal bands who probably they're told to be there at 5, they show up at like 7. We
Uh-huh.
were always there at 4:45.
I will see we're like 4:45 like dorks.
People are like, "Oh, you got to be off the stage at 9:15," and we're like, "We'll be off at 9:03," and we are. That's how efficient we are. If we don't have anything else going for us, it's that we understand.
It's almost like I wish promoters didn't give us a schedule because it stresses me out because I'm like, oh my God, I gotta be there at 5. We got sound check at 6. Yeah.
We're good.
I'm
And
too
then,
good for musicians.
yeah, I was gonna say none of us have anything to do with drugs. We don't, most of us don't indulge in alcohol. I mean, I guess some of us do to a casual extent, but nobody's waking up on somebody else's floor with their clothes on. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe we're just lame.
No, I don't think we're
You
lame.
don't have to do that stuff to not be lame.
No.
That depends on who you're hanging out with that night.
Yes. I'm sure you've seen both sides of it.
Oh yeah.
So, speaking of Asian Man Records and getting on the label, do you have any advice to other people who are trying to get on not just that label, but any label?
No, not good advice. I
No.
do get asked a lot if I can like give stuff to Mike, and no, I can't because he doesn't want it. He will do what he did with my band and throw it in the garbage. He only puts out what he likes, and I don't tell him what he likes. He likes what he likes. If he likes you, he'll find it. Like don't be afraid to send it to him. He's a nice guy. Um, and he most likely will respond to you too. Might not, it might be an honest response though. That's the problem. He's very honest. He did a TikTok series, right? Of like reading. Yeah.
Reviews, yeah.
Yeah. And that's how I think Lizzie got on there from Teens in Trouble.
Hmm.
And he just really liked what he heard. So again, it's not like don't send it, but don't ask us. We can't help you, unfortunately.
But I think in general, I mean, for any musician, I feel like don't place your value on trying to get on a label. I feel like music these days, like
Yeah.
you can do it yourself. I don't
Yeah.
think you need a label to do it. I mean, for the most part, like Mike Park helps us like with money for recording and it's really great having like the Asian Man stamp on it and it's really great.
The distribution is wonderful. Yeah.
But in terms of like, it's not like he's like funding tours or like we split the cost of recording with him. We end up paying him back through sales
Yeah,
and like
we always have to pay it back.
so like I'm grateful to be on Asian Man and I love working with Mike Park but at the same time, like if we weren't on Asian Man, I don't think we'd be doing anything different. We'd just be finding a different way to do it, if that makes sense. And
I
so
think
like I
that's
guess
great
my
advice.
advice would yeah, I would be like, don't place your value on the opinion of someone else because a lot of times it's not even about your music. It's about however somebody felt that day or like their rogue opinion. And, with the internet today and you can you can make your own CDs, you can press your own records. Our album, our EP Art Once was one of my daughter's like art projects from school. Like you can do so many different things. You don't need a label to do it. And I think Mike says the same thing.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Yeah, he said it all the time.
He doesn't want you to bug him.
I didn't
Oh, you can do it yourself. You're great. Oh, thank God.
He means it.
That's
That was
great.
another question from Eric, by the way. He sends us a ton of questions.
I love it.
We're gonna have to like let him come on and be a guest host or something.
Right? He's got good questions.
He always has good questions.
Gunning for it.
Yeah.
So we thought we would use our Brain on Ska segment today to focus on your newest release, Everything You Know Is Wrong, which is still really new. It just came out in December of 2024. What has the initial response to the album been from old fans? Have you got a lot of new fans off of it?
Yeah, we've gotten a lot of new fans off of it. And, like releasing this album for us was kind of a scary thing. Because we went from having horns and having like a big sound to just the four of us. And so we didn't know how anybody was going to take it really. So when we released it and it kind of got as much attention as it did, and it actually got us more attention, and I think like better
Than anything.
well liked than anything we've done before.
It's the only thing that's sold out besides the 7-inch, which God, I don't know why. This sold out within a couple of months.
Yeah.
So,
And we are like grateful and shocked and like
yeah,
I was pleasantly surprised because like it was unexpected. We didn't expect it to get as much like positive attention.
Yeah, I mean, you look online all the time and you see bands that like maybe lose their horn section and the comments are just filled with hate. It's just like, oh, you guys are fucking terrible. That's not ska. Where's your fucking horn? It's like whatever. But at the same time, I've said this before, like I tried to start this band hornless. It didn't work out for me. But I tried. Mike Parks, like the Chinkies, and definitely the Beautiful World EP by Bruce Lee Band. I always wanted to do a band like that. And that's really like that and Deals Gone Bad was kind of the inspiration for the Abruptors. And when I first saw Deals Gone Bad, they only had one horn player because the other guy couldn't come with them. So he didn't really like, he was great. But at the same time, had he not been there, it would have been an incredible show still. And I really wanted to do that. But some of the people that were in the band at the time just really wanted a horn section. And it worked out because Toni wouldn't have been in the band had that not been the case. But I'm very happy that we are where we are today because I love the sound. I don't think there's like 7,000 bands doing it. And I also, the ease of 4 people allows us to just go out and play. We drop all the BS. It's wonderful.
Well, and buying plane tickets doesn't cost.
Yeah. We can
Now,
actually
like
take planes places rather than always having to drive.
like the actual like business side of it is a lot easier too.
Oh my God, yes.
Right. Well, it's funny because we actually had a listener question from Eric that was, asking about the fact that you got out of the horns and wondering if you were ever going to be adding them back in. But it sounds like you guys are doing just fine without them.
Yeah, I mean, but I think to answer that question, we've discussed like when we make the next album, it will definitely be more in vein of Everything You Know Is Wrong, but that doesn't mean we won't put like a full horn section on a song.
Yeah.
We totally will. But I really like where our organ driven sound is at. It just really works for us. And in all honesty, we just haven't had the best of luck live with horns. We listen back to some of our old videos and it was always our weakest link. And now we listen back to the videos and everybody's like super tight and it just seems to work better for us.
But we've every once in a while we talk about the possibility of like if the right person popped up out of nowhere and materialized magically, like we wouldn't say no to it.
Yeah.
Like we've talked about like, I'm tied right now to the keyboard and the saxophone and when I sing and stuff, I can't really like travel. So like it would be really cool to find someone who could play like trombone and do like we have like a magical wish list, right? Like here are the only parameters that we'd ever add a 5th person to the band, and because sometimes, people pop up and
Mhm.
in the past we had gotten in kind of the habit of just like, sure, come play. And then it kind of gets us into like a weird situation sometimes.
Ooh.
It's a bad
Actually,
Tinder date,
before your Buffalo Ska Fest, we kind of had that situation. We were going to appear at the Buffalo Ska Fest with a full horn section to kind of make it like, because it was a special show. And we thought, let's make it extra special and break out songs that people aren't expecting, you know? And we practiced and practiced and practiced. And then it all fell apart the night before.
Yeah. They got like another gig offer and then like here's a sub and we were like, no, thank you.
It just,
Back to playing work.
it reaffirmed like if the four of us stick together and really create, this nice music and kind of rework tunes, it works just as well. We don't notice anybody at the shows not having a good time or complaining. Like, so unless I'm missing something, I don't really see the point.
And there's so many ska bands out there that don't have horns that I see just like let somebody jump up and play the horns for maybe a song or two during a show. Maybe that could be something you do. I don't know, but
That is going to be something we do, but this person's a trusted friend. So, yeah.
He plays in the write-ups who we've toured with and
Yep,
in the write-ups,
we know.
oh, we just had the
Yeah.
write-ups one last
I
week.
saw that.
or 2
Yeah.
weeks ago.
So Dick will be joining us for Supernova.
Oh, you know what? He told us he was playing at Supernova. He
Yeah.
did tell
Yeah,
us he
with
was
us.
playing with the
He might
Abruptors.
not have said it, but yeah.
He talked to so
When
many
when he
people
told
about
us
it,
he
so
was
it's
going to
hard
be
sometimes.
there, he was already like, "Oh man, I can't wait to see you guys again. Like, I'll be there. I already bought my ticket." And I was like, "You just play with us."
Uh-huh.
So, and he's already been practicing the songs, and he's great. But we
Oh,
love
that's
those
really
guys.
cool.
We've been on like 2 tours with them. Um, they're wonderful people. And I've known some of the band members from Mustard Plug, like when they would tour. But yeah, we're looking forward to having Dick with us, so that'll be a lot of fun.
Cool. We'll be there to see it, we hope.
Awesome.
It sounds like we're going to see you a lot this year.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. We'll get
Yeah.
into that when we're done with Brain on Ska. But what we typically do during Brain on Ska is choose a few tracks and kind of like jump into the inspiration behind those tracks. You can give us like a little
Cool.
meaning to them. But we thought since it was a new album, Janice and our regular host that does this is not here this week, so we're gonna just mix it up a little bit. Janice picked her favorite track, and I picked my favorite track. And then I thought we would let the two of you each tell us your favorite song to either play live or the one that means the most to you.
Oh, I love
From
that.
the So you
I
want
love
to go
that.
first? Wait, why don't we let our guests go first? Because if we pick,
Oh, maybe you guys
yeah,
should go first in case we
yeah.
pick what you.
Yeah, you guys
Oh,
go
that's
first.
true.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, Janice, go ahead. You're up.
Okay, so the one that's really resonating with me is This Just In. I've listened to that a lot. I think it's very what's the word? It kind of fits with the current situation of the
Relevant.
political climate and everything, so it really kind of just got caught on and I listened to it a lot. So tell me about where that came from. What inspired?
Yeah, no, I think I don't like media in general because I feel like it's not an information tool. It's actually intended to be like no matter if
Mhm.
you like what side the media is on, right? It's intended to be propaganda to like get you to feel a certain way or react a certain way and like it controls a lot of what people think, right? And so I think like in general for me it was just kind of saying like, that we can't control a lot of what's happening in the world. Um, and like there are people who are going to tell us, that this is the way it is, but at the end of the day, like we're all the rest of us are all together, trying to do the right thing and live our lives and be the people that we are every single day. I just don't like media, is what it really comes down to. Because I really think it's more of a company and a corporation than it is intended to like provide helpful information.
Absolutely. It's very relatable. That's why I connected with that because I feel like the whole world needs to listen to that song and understand. It's a really good track.
I love it. Yep.
What about you, Jess?
I guess I'm up. My favorite is right off the bat, Such a Mess. I don't know if it's because I am such a mess. I always say, don't be like Jess. Jess is a mess. But that song is just so upbeat and makes me want to dance right off the bat. And I just love to listen to it. I could listen to it over and over again.
Was it ever even real? Or were you always just faking how you feel? Stupid me, I took you at your word, but I should have known better. You were only playing games. Meanwhile, I was going insane, trying to figure out if it was fortune or fame, but I didn't know whether. You were just the weakest parts of me, showing me who I should try to be, and you always let me down. I hate the way you make me feel. Trust your intentions are very real. My gut was right, my head was wrong. I try to think through all the pain that you could ever cause and stain, but they have warned me all along. And it all came out in waves. They were taking my rib to its grave. The circumstances and the way they behave. Oh, I just blamed it on the weather. The whispers set behind the doors. The truth came back to you, I couldn't take it anymore. What was all the sailors fighting for? You know I won't forget her. You were just the weakest parts of me, showing me who I should try to be, and you always let me down. I hate the way you make me feel. Trust your intentions are very real. My gut was right, my head was wrong. I try to think through all the pain that you could ever cause and stain, but they have warned me all along. Now that you're gone, everything is fine. Now that you're gone, I can take back my life. Now that you're gone, I don't know who I can believe anymore. It's all been done before. I hate the way you make me feel. Trust your intentions are very real. My gut was right, my head was wrong. I try to think through all the pain that you could ever cause and stain, but they have warned me all along. I hate the way you make me feel. Trust your intentions are very real. My gut was right, my head was wrong. I try to think through all the pain that you could ever cause and stain, but they have warned me all along. I should have known it all along, that you were never really there for me, and I was just plain wrong. I should have known it all along. I should have known.
Who wrote that one?
What?
Oh,
Good for you.
I don't know. I wrote that one. That was one. That one's kind of about a frenemy. Where like you deeply care about somebody and like you're looking out for them and you have their best interest, and the whole time you think that they feel the same way. Later to find out that they were actually the cause of a lot of the pain that you were feeling. And so that one was written after a very long day. And I had gotten myself into bed and literally opened up my note app and just started writing lyrics. And the lyrics and the music kind of came at the same time. So it was like 2 a.m. and I'm just like singing into my phone in bed. And yeah, I think like every time I play that one, I feel it. Because I think sometimes like the pain of those friendships don't go away. And they suck. So I think, yeah, I feel that one a lot when I sing it.
Speaking of you writing that song, who's doing most of the creative work in the band?
It's Mike and I
Lyrically,
lyrically, yeah.
creatively, it's everybody.
Yeah,
And
so what we'll do is like we'll write lyrics and we'll send them back and forth to each other and then have like a general idea of how we want the melody and things like that to go.
Mhm.
And then what we'll do is we'll bring it to the band and Alex and Chris, it always evolves. Like we just wrote a song and I had it one way in my head and then you bring it to the band and Alex and Christian add things to it that make it sound way different than what I even heard. And always in a good way though, right? Like that's why collaboration is magical.
Mhm.
do you start right off by singing it to them, or do you let them read it? Like, how do you usually approach that?
Sometimes, like, so if Tony and I are just kind of jamming on it together, I'll have the basic chord structure. So maybe I might play and sing it to them.
So you'll add your
Um,
voice. We're bringing it to the band mostly.
yeah, but sometimes we just kind of do it on a phone recording and send it to them to kind of ponder over for the week. And
Cool.
then that way, when they get here, we can just do it together. You know, it's, I guess it really depends. Just how much work we put into it. But that's generally how it goes.
So who wants to go next on what either your favorite track on the album is or your favorite one to play, whatever.
You go next. I'm gonna look at the track list.
So, I'll pick St. Louis. Just
Okay.
I love playing that song. And I just really enjoy like how easy that was to write. Just I didn't know I was writing a song that day, and it came out in like 5 minutes.
They're
So
probably the best
it's probably
one.
my favorite one. What's that?
They're probably the best ones, the ones that just come to you.
Yeah, that one just kind of came right out. We were playing that right at the very end of the recording of Noticeably Cheerless.
Hmm.
So we've had that one for quite a while.
For me, so Such a Mess is like my favorite one to play live, I think. Like I really love singing that one. But I think one of my favorite songs is actually one Mike Park wrote, Mazes. Um, and I remember him sending us the voice note for that, also through um also just, through a little voice note on email. And I remember thinking like, damn, I love this song already. And I think I even said it to you. I was like, this song's gonna be freaking great. Um, I just think like the message of it is very relatable. I don't know, there's just something special about that song to me. And I'll never forget that moment listening to I was like, I'm listening to a Mike Park voice note that he wrote for my band to play. And that is just a really cool feeling.
Yeah.
And then actually, he was supposed to have Mike sing it. He originally wanted you to sing it. And then when we got to the studio, I kind of just took it over.
Hmm.
He goes,
I really
'cause
love that one too. I'd actually texted Jess earlier when I was trying to pick my favorite, and that was in the really high up in the running. It's a great song.
Thank you for picking our songs and not Mike's.
I didn't
No,
know.
we're very happy that he decided to write some tunes for us. That was really awesome. Dream come true. I mean, I don't know. It's amazing that we get to call Mike Park songs our own.
Right.
It's wild. But
What
yeah,
other
we're
songs
real
did he
grateful.
write?
I'm sorry.
What other songs did he write?
All I Have, and he wrote Concept of Heart.
Okay. My
He wrote
second
3 of them.
was one of yours as well. So there you go. Mine was Run.
What was the second one?
Run.
Run.
Oh, that one was me. That was also a song from like 10 years ago. We decided to just kind of repurpose it.
Cool. It's always good to have that in your vault to pull
Yeah,
stuff
I
out.
feel if you don't use a song that's good, like why not?
Mhm.
Like why let it just be forgotten?
Right.
So this is going to be a huge year for the Abruptors as far as festivals go. You are
Mhm.
playing quite a few of the big ones. How does it feel to have been invited to play so many of them?
Wonderful. I mean, again, it kind of goes along with the feeling of like are people even going to like this album? And then all the show offers say yes. It was, but yeah, it was really surprising, but very, very nice.
Is there anyone
Yeah,
you're surprised by or looking forward to the most?
Supernova, just
Right.
because we had been after him for about 10 years
Mm.
and never even got the closest we got was that Tim supposedly texted our friend who said, "Hey man, you should put the Abruptors on." And he responded, "Oh yeah, I love those guys. We're full."
Uh,
And that was like
3 years ago.
4 or 5 years ago. Yeah.
Yeah.
that's the one thing
So,
I don't see with Supernova. Like I see with camp, they have submissions and you can submit your band, but I don't
uh-huh.
really see this with the other festivals. I guess they just
No,
do.
they do. I've
Oh, they
submitted
do.
many times. Yeah,
Huh.
it's a little hard to find, but I would
Okay.
actually have people tag me in like a link to the submission because they wanted us to play.
Huh.
We would see people in photos with homemade Abruptor shirts.
Really?
And I I mean, we know why we got it this time and we're very thankful. But we don't know why before. I mean, maybe he didn't like us until now. That's okay. Although he did say he liked us, but that's, it's okay. But that we're definitely looking forward to that one the most. We got the best reaction out of that when people found out we were playing it
Mhm.
because people had been asking for us for years. We would see the comments and people would say the Abruptors, the Abruptors. So
And that is the
very, very
biggest one.
pleased.
Have you been there?
No.
Like as an attendee?
Mhm.
No.
No.
No, it would just kind of fall in a weird thing. Like all of our days that we save are 90% meant for shows. So sometimes we do end up missing out on some stuff because we go, got a show around that time. Maybe we shouldn't go all the way to Virginia.
Right.
It's not like it's next door.
Well, we'll do a lot to try to keep our calendar free.
Yeah, yeah, because we might get a show offer. It happens all the time. Like where we book something in advance and somebody's like, "Hey, you want to play this gig for $1,000?" And we're like, "Uh, we're not going to be here."
Yeah, well, because we don't tour like other bands. Like we don't put together like lengthy tour schedules and then like have like designated tours. And I think for the most part, we really don't reach out to people to book either. Like all of the shows that we get, like we'll submit to festivals and stuff like that, but like most of the shows we get are just people reaching out to us, being like, "Hey, are you available on this date? Will you come to XYZ?" And most of the time we're just like, "Sure, we'll come out for the weekend." Um, so
I think that works best though. When
yeah.
people reach out to us, it's better. I think we've gotten some better offers that work for how we travel.
Mhm.
Um, I think when I used to reach out to people, it was a little more difficult because it's almost like sometimes people see you as a little vulnerable because they think you want this show real badly. And then they're like, "Oh, yeah, you can come on Monday. I got $50, maybe 100 if people come in." And I'm like, "Okay, cool, thanks." Like at that point, it stopped being like worth it trying to reach out to people. Um, but we've gotten enough really good offers this year to pretty much fill us up. So
Yeah. I mean, you're playing Buffalo again. You played that last year and probably other years as well. Did you play the first Buffalo
the
stuff?
Ska Talk?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. We play every this will be the third year.
Right.
We
Okay.
played every year. According to Laura, it can't happen without us.
All right.
That's what she told me. We'll see if she make her stick to it.
I
So
think she keeps her word. Pioneer Valley Scout Fest is on your list. I am
that
planning
was cool.
on
That
checking that
happened in a
out.
comment.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, there was people before who had asked us to come to Massachusetts, and as I just stated before, they kept telling me to reach out, and I said, well, we don't really do that anymore. I said we get people asking us, like we get enough offers that I don't want to like book a show on a Wednesday when somebody else just offered me a really good show on a Friday. Um, so then people just continued to ask, and somebody tagged the guy from 413 Ska in the comments. And he was just like, "Oh," he's like, "I got a show." He's like, "Hang on," and then he just messaged me, and all worked out beautifully, easy. So very happy. Just it's like another place that people have been asking for us to come,
Yeah, I haven't been to
and
that one, but I'm planning on getting out there this year. I hope.
yeah, there you go. You can add that one.
There's a lot of bands playing that I haven't seen actually on that lineup that I want
Yeah,
to
there's a
see.
ton of bands on that one for sure, for
Yeah.
sure. But
And
yeah,
do
we're really
you
happy that
at
worked out.
Camp Pennsylvania?
Yeah,
That's a very,
that's an
very fun event.
I first saw you at the Camp Pennsylvania pre-party, I was telling him in 2022, I
yeah.
believe.
Yep.
That Days in Basement.
Oh God.
So funny.
That,
I
that
honestly
days.
didn't think anybody was paying attention at that show. We were just kind of having a good time and didn't really think much of it.
It's fun.
It was a funny situation because like Laura was kind of finding out about us then. And she just kept telling me like apply to punk. She's like, don't worry about it, you're gonna get in. And Joe from Working Class Stiff said the same thing. And we applied and never heard back. And it
Oh,
was just kind of funny because like obviously Laura does 100 things, and it was like that first year they're really doing it, or maybe the second year, I can't remember.
I think it was the
So
first.
obviously they're busy and stuff, and there's other people who pick the bands. And then I think she was just like, oh shit. She's like, well, why don't you play the pre-show instead? And that's how we ended up coming to that. And then I think we were just busy the following year. And then we caught her at Buffalo Ska Fest last year, and I said, look, I said we were really like to actually play punk, this year. I said, if you want me to fill it out again, I said, absolutely. But she obviously helped us out, get on there, and I'd say half our shows are thanks to her anyway. So
Oh,
yeah. But that was funny that you had seen us there because I really don't remember don't remember many people watching.
There was a
you're
small
right.
but mighty crowd that night.
Okay.
They were dancing.
All right.
There's a whole video.
Yeah. I remember seeing a
I may
bear.
even have a
That's
video
all I
from that night, actually.
Oh,
I
really?
have to see if I
what's
do.
that?
I may even have a video.
Oh,
I'm gonna have to check and say.
that's cool. Yeah,
'Cause I
for
always try
sure.
to take at least one of each band.
Oh, that's nice.
Oh, that's awesome.
Mhm.
I think we
Like
were
the
having some
show
like sound
now.
issues too. I think that's why I kind of blocked it out. There's definitely some sound things going on that were a little funky. I think at that point I was just like playing in a basement in a hotel. Like,
Oh, oh.
In that hotel.
A very
Is that
interesting hotel.
it was weird. It was definitely weird. It was like in the middle of nowhere.
Mhm.
Yeah, that was odd.
And then finally, you have This Is Not Croydon Fest this year, which is coming up in like 3 weeks. That is my absolute favorite festival. I'm a bit biased because I live 15
Oh,
minutes from there, and that's my local venue, so I'm always
Oh,
there.
awesome.
well, that's
So it's
very easy
like,
to get to.
all of my friends come to me, and it's just a great time, and I love it. I like a club show too. I'm more into club shows than outdoor shows.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So
I can see that.
it's my absolute
Yeah,
favorite.
we're definitely excited. That's another one that was on our radar. And then they just reached out. And that was almost a year ago, I feel like.
Yeah,
Oh
we've
yeah,
known about
they
that one
always
for a
start
really long
early.
time. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. He reached out to us and just kind of worked out wonderfully. That was before the new album.
Nice.
So that was actually one of those ones where he just wanted us. So
Are you when you go to these festivals, do you plan on hanging out the whole weekend and checking out all the bands, or are you just playing your night and rolling?
so it depends. Some of the festivals we will be staying. For Croydon, we can't. Yeah, we are very much going to have to wake up very early the next morning, drive all the way home. Yeah. We were actually planning on staying and checking out all the bands. Yeah.
Supernova, I'm sure you're gonna stay for the whole thing.
Yes.
Yeah. That we have plans.
I've already got all my
Everybody-
PTO blocked out.
Yeah. Everybody's that's definitely a and again, we were definitely gonna stay for Croydon, but sometimes things come up and
Life happens.
yeah, we gotta stick to some commitments. So
I don't remember what day you're playing camp. They released the daily lineups today.
Sunday.
Sunday. Okay.
Yep, we just got it yesterday.
Now, when you played the pre-party at camp, did you see the main festival grounds that year?
Yes, we did see the grounds. We did not end up staying because I think Tony and I had a trip the next day
Okay.
I don't know.
or the day. Yeah, it was we had something going on. Sometimes Tony and I like to plan our trips around shows too. So that way,
Mhm.
if we're already in the direction of something, we'll pick something over that way and go do it.
Right.
So I think that's what ended up happening with that. But we did,
Wait till you see the
oh,
new grounds. They're like amazing.
yeah, we heard
Oh
that
yeah.
there was some issues with the previous
Yeah.
grounds.
We had a great time there and we loved it, but the new grounds are just great. There's trees everywhere, lots of shade. It just feels like a real like campsite environment.
I love that.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And there's
I'm
this like
excited.
cool trail that takes you between all the stages, and you got food and this and that, and it's good.
It's so
That's wonderful.
nice. So nice.
Can't wait.
It's awesome. Yeah, we're excited to be there. Have a whole weekend.
Oh yeah.
So besides the festivals, what else do you have planned for this year? Anything?
Yeah, we got some really good stuff. We call it the year of the festival because that's really what we got. But we'll be playing with the Slackers in Buffalo in just a couple of weeks, right before we leave for Croydon, and then we're going to Slackfest in Cleveland with them. So that's literally 2 days after they're here in Buffalo. They've invited us to come back with them to Cleveland, and we've actually done Slackfest before, and we've been on a tour with the Slackers before, so we're very well acquainted with them, and we really enjoy playing shows and just hanging out with those guys. So that's always just a treat. And if I'm being honest, it's usually because I just want to hang out with Jess, the merch and tour manager.
Jess is great.
She's the best. I tell her that all the time. It's, Slackers are great, but I'd rather just hang out with you. So
Speaking of live shows and being on the road, what is the oddest thing you have ever come across at a show or being out touring? Or the oddest thing that has ever happened to you?
for me, it was definitely the stalker that we had real early in the band's
Oh
days.
no.
Are they going to
Yeah.
listen?
What's that?
He might. He
going to
still
be
pops up
listening?
every once in a
Do
while.
they still stalk
I
you?
mean, we haven't seen him in years.
He popped up in our YouTube comments, not too
Yeah, he pops up. It's usually nasty comments these days.
Oh,
So he he was from Hamilton, Ontario, and he would travel to Buffalo or any Southern Ontario show we would play. He became very obsessed. He was convinced that me and him were like really good friends. Like day one, he was like, we understood each other, and I'm like, okay, sure. Um, he was convinced we played the same kind of guitar, which we didn't. He would find anything just to kind of gravitate towards. And then he started cutting our heads out of pictures and posting them on people's bodies and then sending them to us. Um, yeah, well, it gets worse.
oh, that's creepy.
So at that point, I was just like, hey man, I'm like, we're not comfortable with that. Like maybe please, just please stop. And he lost it. He thought that in his words, I was white knighting and trying to protect the females of the band. And I was just like, I just literally don't want you cutting anybody's heads out of like our photos and putting them in people's bodies. You just but after that, he would still show up at shows, and we would see him like as he would exit. Like, let's say the show was over, we were hanging at the merch booth, and he would come up and he would kind of waddle over and then just look at me and go, "I'm not crazy. You're not crazy." And you're like, "No, that's not what crazy people say at all."
Right?
And then we found out that he had basically stole a woman who was dying of cancer from her family and started bringing her to our shows and then taking photos. Like while we were on stage, he would take like a selfie with her, and she was very clearly terminal. And he would dress her up in our shirts and make her wear our pins. And then I started following him like online because he started to really worry me. And I wanted to know if he was coming to a show, right? But then I saw what he was doing with that woman, and he got into like a huge thing with the family. She would go back to her family and he would pick her up in the middle of the night. Like I don't know what the hell was going on there, but she eventually passed away in his care, and that was luckily the last we kind of saw of him in person. But he will still pop up online, but usually with more nasty.
talking about how you white knight.
Yes, and how it's too bad Mike's such a pussy and he has to side with the females. He's very, very misogynistic. He blames everything on women from every post he ever makes. He's a very disgusting character. So I would say that is my oddest experience of being in a band.
That is the worst story we have ever heard.
Seriously, that's terrifying.
And we
His
have
face
heard
is
like
what's
some
like
fan
intriguing
stories.
to horror to like, oh my God.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, I don't know if I've ever told the full story on an interview before. I've told people before that we had like a stalker fan, and I don't know how far I usually got into it because it's pretty gross, and it makes me, I get kind of really upset when I think about what he did to that woman.
Yeah.
I mean, it had nothing to do with us at that point, but just like it's like one of those things where you couldn't believe it was happening. And he would post about it and make videos. He literally ran away with her in a van that he converted into like little sleeping area. It was mind blowing. Like, I don't think there's anything you could have done for her because she was obviously like at stage 4. But at the same time, like, I don't think that was what she needed.
Right.
But
That's not a good position to be in.
No.
no, and it was weird because the only thing they had like connection wise is they dated for like 2 weeks in high school, and he was well into his 40s at that point. He would always share a photo of them from high school. Yeah, it was absolutely
Janice,
nuts.
Dear Lord.
I don't have a weird story.
Now tell us a
That
happy story,
I
Toni.
I know, because now we're all like,
asked for a weird story, and I gave
You had one.
Well, I
Uh,
think it's really funny because normally Eric does this segment and he always asks the band for a traumatic story. And the one time that Eric is not on here, we get the most traumatic story we have ever heard.
Yeah, sorry.
No, that's what we asked for.
We're going to tell him he missed out on the most traumatic story, and now
I
we
always try to bring something to an interview that I haven't said before. So
Look at today.
otherwise, why do you do these, right? If I keep saying the same things, then-
Exactly.
right.
That's true.
Well, this is a first for us.
yeah, me too.
We did have another band who had a fan that followed them around, but didn't do any of that stuff.
No, we get the crazies. No, we get a lot of wonderful people too. But yeah, we get some odd messages from time to time too, which are just funny. My favorite, probably more recent memory, it's more, I guess, comedic, was we were playing against my own wants, I guess. We were opening for Sublime with Rome, and I'm not a big Sublime fan. I tend to think that a lot of just like bros listen to that kind of music. And I was right that night. So we were up on stage and two guys just like heckling the two ladies we had in the band, like, "Hey, girl with the purple hair, I want to see your," it was pretty gross. But what was funny was apparently our drummer's parents were there, and all they heard was me scream, "Go fuck yourself." And I guess
course.
for years, his mom was just like, "Why would he do that? That is so unprofessional. He's just telling the fans to go fuck themselves." But she didn't hear the other part.
You gotta remember, you gotta think how many people are thinking like Mike's just telling everybody to go fuck off.
Yeah. But it's not something I really like. That kind of stuff, like, you hope for the best when you play a show like that, and you're like, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there are ska fans that listen to Sublime. Maybe there really are. I don't know. But that night, it was definitely a bunch of bros who I don't think they even knew what reggae or ska were. They were just there because they were going to get high with Sublime. But yeah, the comments out of their mouth were just what I would have expected.
Yeah. Well, it's the date rape crowd. What are you gonna do?
Yeah, exactly. People who think that's like cool. "Oh, man, I love that song. It's so awesome." Like, no, it's disgusting. But so yeah, that was definitely not. I guess it's funny though because his mom thought I was just randomly yelling at the.
You tend to have interactions like that with people. Where the time like we were at the fair and you were trying to sell my daughter for $1. And then my dad was like, "Why is he trying to sell Aria for $1 at the fair?"
That was different. We were at a fair
How old is your daughter?
at the time. I think she was like
The baby. She was like she couldn't walk yet.
Holding a baby. How old is she now?
She's 6 now.
She's 6.
It's so weird because when
Playing
you
any
play those
music?
types of things,
She doesn't play any music. But she's very musical, if that makes sense.
Okay.
Like she sings and she's a big Abruptors fan, probably because I was 9 months pregnant while I think I played my last show 8.5 months pregnant. And so she's just always been around it. She still comes to practice and she's got a little microphone. She'll come downstairs with every once in a while. And so, yeah.
but when you're in that situation of playing a fair, like you just feel like you're a sideshow. Like it's not funny. So I was just trying to
Lighten the mood.
Yeah, clearly that didn't work.
No.
Great. What are we up to categories?
We sure are.
So categories is just a fun little game we play. I have a deck of cards. Each one has a question. I shuffle them up, and then we just ask random things of both of you. So our first question is, if you could collaborate with any artist, living or dead, who would it be?
I don't know. I feel like I lived that already. I feel like it's happened.
Oh, well, that's.
Yeah.
I guess that's true.
Yeah, I feel like I would have said, oh, I don't know, I'd like to do something with Mike Park, but I did. So
Kudos.
Living the dream.
you got anything?
No, I'm really bad at these kind of questions.
All right.
Ah. All right, let me see. Maybe the next one. Okay, so the next one is, how did your band get its name?
We don't really have a real answer.
I don't even know what an abruptor is. Like I'm trying to do, so I try to do the merch and like, you know, like branding and like all that, like, you know, the stuff that you like think about. And I'm like, early on in the band, I'm like, what is our like band identity? Like, what are we? Like, what is an abruptor? And Mike's like, I don't know. It's not even a word. Like, I don't know what.
It was
very hard for me.
it was solely picked for the reason that we wanted people to be able to find it online. That was it. It was like, what could we come up with that isn't out there? You know, you pick your band name and you look it up, and there's 7 bands already out there. So
Right.
we were just kind of thinking of like, the best way I can describe it is you're thinking of like two-tone era bands, the Selector, the Specials. You know, what sounds like that? And basically we just came up with the Abruptors, and we were like, yep, that's it. Looked it up, absolutely nothing else out there. And it obviously we benefited from that because you're not going to find anybody else but us. So that's basically it.
Awesome. I mean, that's a good reason. It is hard when you're trying to find a band you heard somewhere, and there's like, one from New Jersey, one from Ohio, one from California.
Oh yeah.
Know which one to go to.
And with our previous band, we ran into that issue. So we had a band called 737 before, and there was only us. But then people would say, but that's the name of the Boss Tones like group. And I'm like, yeah, because I like the Boss Tones. That's why I named it 737. And then there was a band from England who decided, well, we're also 737. And we're like, okay. Then before that, I had B-Side Bastards, but there was already a B-Side Bastards. And then they would start making comments. You should change your name. We hate you. You know, it's like,
Oh my God.
you couldn't win. So yeah, that was a little ridiculous. Like, all your 300 fans, like, relax. Like, it's okay. I'm pretty sure people don't like the both of us. Trust me. Especially those days, like, it was only our Buffalo crowd that even liked us. It was their North Dakota crowd that liked them. Like, it's fine. But yeah, so as far as the Abruptors goes, we just wanted something that we could just avoid all of that.
Nice. All right. Well, it's good. I like it. It works. It's catchy. Do you have any pets?
Oh yeah, there's one right next to me, and I don't know where the other one went. She's somewhere. 2 cats.
Oh, kitties. Very nice.
I have 2 kittens and a 10-year-old dog.
Oh, what
And
kind
his
of dog?
dynamic is, he's some kind of mutt. I don't know what kind of dog he is. He's little and he's weird, and I love him. He thinks that he doesn't realize that growling is normally a bad thing from a dog. When you pet him, he growls, and I think that's just his way of saying he likes it. So he's definitely a little weirdo, but I love him. He's just odd.
Those are the best kind, the little weirdos.
Yeah.
Hey, next card. What was the first concert you ever went to?
Weezer.
James Taylor. And like the Darien like amphitheater.
Yeah, I went to Weezer when I was 13, I think, maybe 12. And somebody blew up a condom and started passing it around, and I didn't know what it was. And I thought it was just a balloon. And my friend's dad was like, don't touch it. You know, that's all I remember. That, and I remember the binoculars. I was like, I think I see rivers.
Oh,
Anytime someone mentions Weezer, I have to ask them, Blue Album or Pinkerton?
Pinkerton.
Yes. I'm
100% Pinkerton. We actually, Alex and I are massive like Weezer fans.
yeah.
Alex, our drummer, and like on band trips, we'll listen to Weezer. Sometimes we'll listen to the new albums and get sad. Then wonder why we did that. But yeah, like Weezer was a huge influence on me growing up as a kid. But yeah, the Pinkerton was a great album. It was very, I mean, just the way that like I write personally is very personal, and that's what Pinkerton was. Blue Album's great. It's fun, but it's not as personal as Pinkerton is. So
Was James Taylor with your parents, or was that a you choice?
That's with my parents. They always used to listen to James Taylor, and then they bought tickets. I was the oldest of five, so I don't know if that time all five of us were around, but they packed us all up and took us to a concert.
Oh, that's my first was Bobby Vinton with my parents, so I get it. It's
Mine was New Kids on the Block with my older sister. So yeah.
There you go.
All right, I'll pull one more. It's if you could have any superpower, what would it be?
I don't know. That's a tough one. It depends on my mood or what I want to do.
I want to teleport, maybe.
Okay. It's a realistic one, right? Just like because it would bring us closer to places we want to go. Rather than I was thinking about defeating enemies for some reason.
Oh,
I don't know why. My mind always goes. I don't really have a lot of enemies to defeat. Unless it's that guy that I talked about before.
I went to telepathy or like, yeah, or teleportation.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't really have I don't have an answer for that one. It's not something I think on often.
Was that the last card, Janice?
Yes.
All right. Well, before we wrap things up, I want to ask one more question. What is a band or two that you've been listening to lately that you feel other people should know about that they may not because they're not so known?
Oh,
It doesn't have to be ska either. It could be anything. Someone you're loving.
not so known.
For me, it's not something I've listened to recently, but it's one that it always goes on in the van when we take a band trip, and it's Dogs Die in Hot Cars. It's a terrible name.
That's the band name?
Yeah, it's a very, I don't know why they chose that name. Yeah. But they only put out one album before they broke up, and it was wonderful. But it was very popular in Ireland, but did not reach virtually anywhere else. But I got hooked on it actually through somebody was doing like bands that have ska songs that aren't ska music. And they have a ska song, despite the fact that none of their other songs are ska at all. And I just ended up loving the album because it's weird. It's very weird. Catchy but weird. And then I showed it to Alex, and Alex loved it, and Toni enjoyed it. So we just put it on in the car when we go take band trips now. It's a great listen.
So check it out.
I've just been listening to a lot of Bayside lately, but
You just saw the tour.
I just saw their tour. Yeah, I think
Okay.
people will probably know who they
I
are.
would say the sold out show probably told
Yeah,
me.
probably saw that people know who they are. I don't think I have I don't know. Nobody comes to mind immediately. It's somebody I've been listening to recently. I get stuck in cycles. Like I'll listen to the same band for like months, and he'll be like, "You gonna listen to anything else?" And I'll be like, "No."
I do that too. I go down rabbit holes, as I call them.
Yep.
Janice, you listening to anyone good lately?
I've been listening to a lot of the Abruptors.
Yeah,
Ooh.
obviously.
That'll get you a guest spot. Honestly, I think we have quite a few of them.
Oh, I've been
It's so
listening to
weird
some.
when they give us guest spots at like places we've never been. Like, who do you think I'm bringing?
Your long lost cousin and
I think we have 5 for Croydon, and I'm just like, okay, cool. Like, I don't know.
I don't know, maybe people bring like significant others and stuff.
Well, like more well-known bands too probably have fans there they can get in, but I don't know. I don't know who anybody is over there yet.
We bought our tickets for Croydon, and then I ended up sponsoring and getting tickets. So
Oh,
There you go.
so I guess we're keeping them 5 spots.
yeah, There you
Can you
go.
like raffle them off? Can you do like a drawing, or they won't let you do that?
Oh, probably not with them.
Oh,
Probably not.
sometimes I'll like in Buffalo, I don't even ask anymore. I'm just like, I know we got something, we're fine. But like when I go out of town, I'm like, I feel like uncomfortable asking. So
Understandable.
yeah,
And we always like
try
to
to do this.
buy tickets. So like we like to support the bands, the venues, everything. So we're not guest list people. We like to go out and support whenever possible.
Love that.
Yeah, we also understand too that there are people who just want to enjoy the music and don't have a lot of money too, Especially, we love to help people out who are like, hey, that's X amount of money and I have rent due. And I'm like, that's cool. Come on in. Have a good time. Like
That's cool.
again, we don't personally make like money off this. So Mike Park takes all our money. So
We
But-
clip
That choice
Mike
now.
Park takes
Yeah.
all the money.
I gotta knock him down a peg. He's like God tier for everybody who listens to ska music.
The funny part about Mike Park to me is he's always just been a person.
Yeah. He doesn't well, yeah, but you didn't grow up listening to
No.
him either. So that's the difference.
Yeah. But
That was like my ska journey was like Asian Man. You just flip through the catalog and you're like, I don't know what that is, but I want that.
Mhm.
That has a Pez gun on it, sure. That's how I would pick my albums.
So besides Asian Man Records, where can the listeners find your music?
Every streaming site. And then whatever place Mike works with these days. I know that we're on DistroDog in like the UK, probably something in Japan. I don't know. We're all over the place, but I don't remember all the names of stuff. But yeah, streaming sites, anyone you can think of, I believe we're on.
Okay, and they can catch you at a bunch of festivals on the East Coast.
Yeah, we'll have albums until they run out, I guess.
All right. Anything you want to plug before we wrap things up?
No, I think that's it. I think just come see us at a show, help us celebrate 10 years of being in a band.
Yeah, that's
And
huge.
hopefully we get
Congratulations.
10 more months out of it before we all hate each other and quit.
Get these festivals done
just let
first.
it be nice.
I'm working on it now. See how aggravated she's getting.
Let it be nice.
Well, thank you for taking the time to come on and talk to us. Since we haven't asked you enough tonight, we'll probably be like, hey, you want to do an on-site interview at Croydon Fest?
Yeah.
Fun.
We're just doing
Yeah.
like little short things there to kind of like
Yeah.
maybe go live. I'm not
Absolutely.
sure yet. I got to figure out what I'm doing, to be honest with you.
That would be super fun.
No, that'd be
I'd be
great.
all for that.
Absolutely. We look forward to seeing you in person.
Yeah. a
You
bunch.
both are going?
I
Yes.
will not bring any terminal cancer patients with me or cut heads
No.
off, but I might say hello.
Telling you, I don't think anybody's going to top that. Yeah.
Whew. I don't think so either.
I don't think anyone should try.
Please don't. Dear God.
0 out of 10, not recommend it. Thank you both. We'll see you soon.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Take care.
Thanks.
Anyway, we want to thank you all for listening to Ska Talk with Skagazine. You can find our episodes on YouTube and Spotify, and follow us on Instagram, Facebook, Blue Sky, never Twitter or X. And we appreciate everyone who follows and listens along and discovers new bands through us, because that's why we're here. And we also want to remind you that if you want to have a scene, you got to be the scene. Go to the shows. Even if you have to go by yourself, you're leaving with more friends than you came with. Get out there and support the bands and have a great time. And that's it. That's a wrap.
Yay.
They say what they